Alice coming to you from AtStudioD. Today I'd like to share with you the process of this 12 by 12 layout. For starters, I'm using the Reset Girl Getaway collection. It's perfect for summer. It's got really pretty colors and a great vintage vibe. And so I'm just cutting out a few of my favorite elements from the kit, including some shapes, some journal cards, these stamps that you see here. And prior to filming, I had pre-punched some of the large hexagons with this Fiskars hexagon punch that you see here. But I needed some more hexes for my layout, and so I decided to use the pattern paper that comes with the kit, with the bundle. And so this is what you see me doing in this section. So I've laid out all my pile of goodies over to the right, and now I'm cutting down my photo. The printer I use is an Epson PM400, and using an app I was able to put 2 photos on one sheet. I've drawn out a sketch for myself to give me an idea of what I want to what I want the layout to look like. And so that's what you see there over to the left, and you'll see it all throughout the video. So what I'm using here is a plastic. This is just packaging plastic from hauls that I've done, and so it's great to recycle, and so that's what I'm doing, using Mr. Huey's Color Mist in Buttercup. That's a really nice vibrant yellow. It matches perfectly with this particular collection. And so I'm just placing that right on my white cardstock, and you'll see it a little bit heavier to the left than on the right, but in just a couple seconds you'll also see me spread that over to the right side of this page. The Martha Stewart heat tool is really great to set your color and make sure that everything's dry before moving to the next step. And here you'll see me pull out those pre-punched hexagon shapes. These are, like you saw, from the pattern paper as well as from the paper punch buffet. And once again, that hexagon punch is by Fiskars, and they have 3 sizes. There's a small punch, which also coordinates with the paper punch buffet, a medium punch, and then the large. So I'm looking at my sketch one more time, and I'm deciding where I want the placement of my photos to be. In the original sketch, my photos were circle, but now they're rectangles. I took a photo of the placement of the hexagons because I want to make sure that I place them exactly where they were before. And now I'm gonna just continue building my background. So I've pulled out some ink cubes. These are by Altenew, and the one I'm using here is called Silverstone. That's the name of the ink itself. It's a light gray color. It's lighter than black, but darker than actual silver. There's really no shine to it. That's just the name. And so I've inked up this awesome stamp. This is a background stamp. There's really no real words to it, and I found that on AliExpress. So if you Google search background stamps, you can find a few there. So my favorite Tim Holtz stencil is called Speckles, and that's what you see here. And I've pulled out this packaging from the HP Sprocket printer sheets, just to show you that really you can use anything in your room, anything at hand, anything in your kitchen with a straight edge to do this technique. You don't need the actual tools, trust me. I've used gift cards, I've used cardboard, etc. If it's something that you're okay damaging and you're okay tossing, then use it. Definitely recycle. So I'm just using this stencil and I'm placing it all around my layout, and I'm noticing that there are some really harsh edges, I don't want it to be a straight line when it comes to my stenciling. I like it to look messy. I like it to look scattered. And because I know where I'm going to build my layout, where my hexagons are going to be, where my photo and my ephemera is going to lay, that's where I'm adding the background ink or paint. So just keep that in mind if you're interested in building some backgrounds. Here again is the Martha Stewart heat tool. And then I'm going to pull out another stamp. This is a hexagon stamp by Kaiser Craft. It's a background stamp. This time I'm using a different ink. I'm using one called Limestone. It's also by Altenew. It's a dye ink, and it's a lighter shade than the prior one. I don't want to take away from the hexagon pattern that's going to be on the layout, but I do still want to give it a hint of background hexes, and so that's why I used a lighter ink on this layout. And so I'm placing it all around, again, the areas of the layout that I know I'm going to have some items on the page. And in this next step, you'll see that I've kind of twisted this sideways. And this tool I'm using is by Fiskars. It's really nice. Those orange circles are actually foam pieces, and so it allows you to place your stamp over your project or over your paper to know exactly where you want it to stamp before it gets inked and put down. And it's great for me because I'm pretty clumsy when it comes to stamping. That acrylic block just falls out of my hand, and I've had a lot of messy projects because of it. I mean, as crafters, we can turn it around. We can make it look like it was meant to be there. But yeah, for this layout, I wanted to make sure that I did things properly. So here I'm bringing back my hexagon pieces, and I did take that photo earlier with my iPad of where I wanted the hexagons to be. So over to the right of the screen, you won't see it on camera, I have my hexagon propped up. I have my photo propped up on my iPad, and I'm making sure that I'm placing those where I want them. Now I noticed that this pink hexie over to the right top corner, it's a little plain, it's a little lonely, so I decided I'm going to give it a little friend. I'm going to add a small banner to it, and then later you'll see how I decorate that little hexagon. My new favorite thing as of, I would say, 2, 3, 4 months ago has been how I add twine or thread to my tags. I really love the look of a messy thread, and so what I've been doing lately is I've just been twirling it around my finger, and you'll see me do it 3 times in the video. I'm using 3 tags today, but you'll see me kind of twirl it around and flip it, to and from, and then staple it down. In the past, I have used liquid glue to keep the string in place, but for some reason, again, I'm a little clumsy and it gets a little messy and glumpy, and I've had some glue fall on my photo, and so I've decided that from here on out I'm just going to use my trusty stapler. And if you didn't notice, I was using a white stapler. That one is by Heidi Swapp, and it's actually my favorite one. I know you guys are not gonna like that I say it's better than Tim Holtz, the tiny attacher, but it actually is. It can actually staple through more sheets of paper than the tiny attacher, so that's really why I love it more. So here's another tag that I'm about to build, again with the thread. The thread I use is by Hobby Lobby. You get a really big round spool for about $2.39, I want to say. It lasts a long time. I use a lot of this thread. I like to keep it simple with white. I do have colored twine, but I sometimes feel that the double colors of the twine kind of mess up with your eyes, and they kind of just, I don't know. I like to keep things a little simple. So here I am just twirling that string again and stapling it down to the layout. And later on, you'll see a close-up of what that looks like. Now I'm beginning to build out where I want my cut pieces to go. And you'll notice that I move around the hexes. That's because I realize that the tag is going to cover that section, and I really want to show more of the fun hexagon patterns on the layout. So I just move it out a little bit so that it can be displayed on the layout with all of the fun elements and photos. Later on, you'll also see that that orange tag at the top, I'm going to bring that down because I prefer it to be at the bottom of the layout, and I'll change the background there also. Here's this fun little cabana die cut that I fussy cut. I'm using a small Martha Stewart scissors. Those are my favorite. I was able to find those at Tuesday Morning for $1.50, and I think I have about 5 or 6 pairs. I even have a pair at work. I love those scissors. They're perfect for fussy cutting. Again, you may hate me. I don't prefer the Cutter Bee scissors. I really prefer those. They really allow you to get into those intricate areas. Now the cabana, you'll see it's over to the right of the photo. Again, that's gonna get moved, and you'll see why. I don't want there to be so much all around the photos. The photos are right in the middle. I want there to be elements above the photo, below the photo, and to the left. Over to the right, I don't want there to be anything. And so I just don't want it to look too cluttered. So I remove it, I put it behind the palm tree, and then I also remove that journal card that you see back there. That's gonna get taken out completely of this layout. So I tend to do that. I go from piece to piece. I say, this looks good here, this doesn't look good there. Now I'm going to use my Tombow Mono adhesive. This is a tape runner. I prefer the tape runner over liquid glue and over glue sticks, and there's a reason why. Number one, they adhere quickly, so I don't have to wait for them to dry. And since I know exactly where I want to place an item, it's not going to move. So as soon as I put it down, it's there. They are kind of repositionable. If you don't press down, you can reposition them, but that's really just, I guess, a matter of preference. I'm cutting off the edges here. I really like the look of having things be floating off of the page rather than being completely on the page. And here I'm cutting out this stamp. This is a West Palm Beach stamp. That's where I'm originally, well, actually, no. I'm originally from New York, but currently I'm in West Palm Beach. So if you ever find yourselves down here in West Palm, give me a shout. Maybe we can meet up one day. So yeah, I went ahead and I used a different stamp, and I added it to that orange label journal card. Not sure what to call that. That was a bonus for this month's collection, the getaway. That was a bonus, one of the bonus sheets along with the stamps. That was another bonus sheet. When you buy the bundle, you get 2 extra freebies, which is pretty neat. And you won't be able to purchase those separately. They're only available with the bundle, just in case you did not know. So I am determined to glue everything down. Want to make sure that it stays put. I'm lining it up with the hexagon that's right over to the left of it, and making sure that the lines are straight. I have a little bit of OCD when it comes to that. For some things, I'm a little lenient, you know, like the placement of this little cabana. And I could have cut off the bottom of the cabana where you see that white. I could have cut that off, but I knew I was going to cover the bottom of the cabana house. And so I really didn't pay much attention. So here I'm placing my pop dots. The actual term for these are dimensionals by Stampin' Up. They're my favorite. I prefer to use these over any other. And if you guys have used dimensionals, you would know how awesome they are. So I'm layering my tags, and I'm also placing dimensionals behind the little flip-flops that I cut out. You did not see me cut those out. I did that off camera. So they're ready to go for me to place on the layout. They're going to go right underneath the 2 tags. I also like that the dimensionals are hexagon shaped. They're really cute. Again, I'm taking my tape runner. This is by Tombow. And it's easy to refill these, and they're always going on sale. You can also go and purchase these at Michael's with a coupon. Now I noticed that the bottom of my layout is kind of, it doesn't have much interest there. It's just yellow and white, and so I wanted to stamp a little bit extra at the bottom. It's very light. I used the limestone ink by Altenew, and I've used pieces and scrap paper to cover my layout so I don't mess anything up there. Now I'm adding my little flip-flops. I love that I can just spread them out, put them anywhere I want on this layout. And the fact that there's pink, yellow, and orange over to that bottom left corner makes that flip-flop really stand out. Really like that. So this is the West Palm Beach stamp that we talked about earlier. Now, it's a sticker, and it's a clear sticker, and I wanted to add it to the layout, and I decided I'm gonna place it on some cardstock and punch it out like a hexagon. So I basically changed the look of that stamp, and I specifically placed it there at the top right corner because I got blue, yellow, pink, and green, and orange is not represented at that corner. So there is orange over to the right, over to the left of the layout. I have an orange tag, and I also have behind the photos that orange border journaling spot. But I don't have orange over to the right, and I wanted there to be a little balance. So here I pulled out this pack of phrases. This is actually glitter, and if you see me dusting things off of the layout later, that's because I've got black glitter all over the place. So I use the word shine, and I'm strategically placing it to the side of the tag that says swim lessons. I'm placing it to where the 2 photos meet at the bottom edge. I want to cover that corner, and later you'll see me add a beach ball there, because I just like to, I don't know, I just like covering where 2 things meet. I like to have a little something cover that spot. So here's my 3rd tag. I really love this one. This one allows you to make a list. I actually printed out a few times this one, and I'm really loving the short tags that we're having now in the kits. They used to be long, and now they're short tags. They are my absolute favorite. I hope they don't stop making these. So here again, I'm punching out the circle, grabbing my thread. I'm gonna make another little messy string there and tie it around and staple it down, and pretty soon it's gonna go right behind my 2 photos. have a little trouble getting things where I want them because my nails are pretty long. I like to keep them long, but when it comes to crafting, it does really give me a little bit of a hard time. So even though I place that tag behind the photos, I still feel like there's something missing. Again, I like to cover where the photos meet, where two corners meet. I like to cover that corner. That just creates a nice fun cluster. It brings interest to the layout. And so what I've done is I've cut out those pink sunglasses, and here's where you'll see me placing the beach ball behind the word shine. I strategically covered the center of the beach ball because there's a purple circle in the middle, and I don't want that to show through on this layout. There's really no purple in the layout, so I covered that piece up with the letter E. And I'm grabbing my dimensionals. You can use the ends of your packaging. This is not something that Stampin' Up! Created for you to use, but I still use it because it's glue. Hello, I could totally use it. This stamp is by Heidi Swapp. This is a roller stamp. It came in a kit, and I'm using a black licorice, a Lawn Fawn ink pad. Also, this is dye ink, so this is a really black vivid, but the stamp is pretty little, and I'm just going to stamp it there off to the side. I like my dates to be seen, but not really seen, so I like to place them in strategic areas where it kind of just surprises you, like, oh, look how cute that little stamp is there. Okay, so at this point I decide that my hexagons, they're kind of looking washed out. There's a lot going on this page, and I want them to just pop out a little bit more. So I pulled out this pen, and I decided that I'm just going to do some doodles. And so I'm just going across each edge, and whenever you see me do a little scribble, it's because the two lines that I drew did not connect properly, and so I'm purposely adding little scribbles to that little connection there. I think it gives it a fun little interest. It almost makes it look like I sewed on the layout, which that's something I would normally do. I would normally sew on a layout. I love that look and that technique. But for the sake of time, I just used a black pen, and I like that it's a dark black pen because it really pops and it goes great with the title Shine. So here I'm adhering down the left of the palm tree, and this is it. This is the finished layout. I love how it looks, and I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching.